Hello, and welcome to my first review. My name is Himiko, and I go as Aoi for this today on YouTube since I like kimonos and my favorite color is blue. Well, enough of that. Let's get started with my first review of Shotest Shogi. Shotest Shogi is a game available through Xbox Live. It was developed by Rubicon Development with AI Factory providing the artificial intelligence engine for the game. I was at a friend's house playing around with their Xbox 360, and when I saw this game on Xbox Live, and let me tell you, I never really liked the Xbox 360. The UI was ugly, and all the games that they had on the system were not particularly games that I liked. And quite frankly, I have issues with Microsoft, the usual stuff, I guess. However, Shotest Shogi was the game that made me get an Xbox 360 and give the console an honest experience, and in the end, I ended up liking the Xbox 360 as a console, and I buy games for it regularly, if you can believe that. But why shogi of all things? When people ask me about what shogi is, I can't really go out and explain the subtleties of it, but instead I describe it as a chess on steroids, which usually gets the point across. Unfortunately, shogi is not as widespread here in the US, so off-the-shelf shogi software in English is rare to practically non-existent. So when something like Shotest Shogi is released to the masses, it is a big deal. At least I think so anyway. So yeah, I was too excited and forked out the 800 points to purchase the game like in a heartbeat. I didn't really think much about it. It's like, dude, shogi, buy. As for the game itself, it has your usual diet of features like single-player career mode, a practice mode, a tutorial mode that covers the basics of shogi for new players, as well as an online mode if you want to take your skills online amongst other things. For those who are new to shogi who can't identify with the kanji on the pieces, there's an option to change the pieces to a more friendlier version, I guess to make it more to those who are more familiar with chess versus shogi. If further help is needed, a mode can be enabled in-game to help you further identify the pieces as well as helping you know where the pieces can go. As it's starting to appear, the game is really intended for the beginner. One thing that Shotest Shogi has over the competition is that every aspect of the game is in full 3D, from the room that you play to the board and the pieces, all in polygonal greatness. The way the pieces move is also very nice. Even little things, how you promote a piece, is very neat and works well with the Xbox 360 controller. Another great thing about the way the graphical implementation is done is that it allows the player to move the camera. As for sound, there isn't much to say. The pieces sound okay and the music is decent. Can't expect a big production on a game like this, and it's perfectly fine. Because the game is intended for beginners and intermediate, the AI isn't as strong as other shogi software, and that's not a bad thing. It always hurts to try to learn to play a game only to get slaughtered, so it's a good thing that this game doesn't try too hard to destroy you. Having said that though, the first opponent in career mode is a pretty steep challenge for the beginner, and the game basically forces you to fully understand all the tutorials to stand a chance. Talking about the tutorials, I feel that they are very quick in explaining everything, with only a few examples to try out what you learn, which is a major flaw. This forces people to go through the tutorial several times to understand with little space to expand those skills. As for online mode, I only tried on occasion to play other people and it works well. I just wish there were more players to play with. As for flaws with Shotest Shogi, there are a few that I can think of. The major flaw in this game is the inability to save your replays. I personally find that viewing replays is a really great learning tool, and is the reason why I record some of my games on my iPhone and post it on YouTube just, to share. The capability to view replays from a top ranking players on Xbox Live would also be a great plus, but I would be happy if I could just replay my own replays. The second thing that is a problem, although it's more of a cosmetic thing, is the status bar at the bottom. It is perfectly fine when doing tutorials or anything that requires heavy text, but in the actual match, it's not needed and it just gets in the way. By default, this could be replaced by a sub-menu mapped to a button that will show you the keyfu for the current match. This would open up the entire playing field and we can enjoy the wonderful 3D graphics. I hear that you can use a webcam so you can view your opponent, so that maybe that's why the status bar is there. But I just feel it could have been dealt differently, or at least given the option of what would you like. Personally, I would just like a map it to a button, kind of like a look at your opponent button. The third thing that I can think of is the lack of downloadable content. More lessons and different skins for the pieces would be very nice. I personally would like single kanji pieces since it would be easier to read from a greater distance, especially since this game was It's meant for the 360, and most people, I'm pretty sure, they're going to be playing on their couch. So being able to see pieces at a distance would be an advantage. I guess another problem, but it's inherent to the state of shogi in the US, is the lack of popularity in general. Since shogi is dominant in Japan for obvious reasons, it would be really rare to find regular players from other regions. Most US players in the Shotest Shogi rankings are usually people who used another AI to play for them for easy achievement, while other players use Shotest Shogi as a stepping stone to learn shogi before moving on to bigger things. Even the online mode is but a mere speck compared to other online shogi communities with their massive lobbies. It is kinda sad though, as it could have been a whole lot more. Maybe I too will stop playing Shotest Shogi once I beat all the CPU opponents. It may go back if someone I know is in Xbox Live want to play a match. However, I will never regret the 800 points I spent in this game. It is too little to spend for a game that introduced me to a world of infinite possibilities, and I'm very happy with it. Thank you for listening to my review of Shotest Shogi. Hopefully I didn't bore you to death too much, but hopefully you'll stick around. I'm going to review other shogi software that I get a hold of, and I guess possibly the ones that are on the iPhone, since there's, several of them. It's kind of neat. I'll see you then.